Hello everyone, this is Insta here. I'm back with yet another movie review. This time it's gonna be for The Flash, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I actually wasn't even planning on seeing this movie in theaters. I think it's safe to say that the DCEU really has lost a lot of its fans over the years, including me. I remember the days from Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. I was actually really hyped, but then Justice League happened and it really just all fell apart. However, I did love the Snyder Cut. I am a huge supporter of the Snyder Cut, and I also do love all these actors in all of their characters. And yes, of course, Ezra Miller, we know everything what happened with him, yet I do think he's very good in the role. So I was kind of excited, but I was kind of like waiting until I would be able to see it on streaming at home. Yet, spontaneous trip to the cinema, and here we are. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm gonna be pretty quick on this one. I was extremely surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie. This was a blast. This is a fairly long movie as well. I think it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Which I really didn't have any problem with, because even with its lengthy runtime, I do believe that in the first act a movie can be quite rushed. Now, not that it's like overwhelming, in my opinion. I don't think it's overwhelming, however, it is really going through the motions fast in the beginning. You definitely have that feeling like, okay, they really want to get the main gist of the movie going, so they're like going at super speed now through all of these intros. Luckily, second act and third act really was, I think, as perfect as the pace should have been. Honestly, negatives, I really can't figure out that many. Some of the quotes, I guess the message, the overall message of the movie is also not that original. It's the same thing, like sometimes you have to let go of your past, and sometimes you can't do anything about it, you just have to move on. Like, we've all heard that message before, it's nothing new or anything, but it was done in a very emotionally satisfying way. They really did give this film in its third act some time, also in its second act a little bit. They really did give this movie some time to slow down every once in a while. Not that many times, but every once in a while this movie slowed down and they allowed the characters to have a little bit of breathing, which I really appreciated. All the good. I think all the characters are great. All the characters. Now, yes, young Barry Allen has gotten a lot of criticism in pretty much every review I've seen. A lot of criticism went to the comedy that involves the younger version of Barry Allen. And I completely see why. I'm not going to be blind here. I completely see why he'd be extremely annoying to some people. And I guess he was, but in other ways, I don't know. Maybe it was the mood I was in, but it didn't really bother me that much. Because to be honest, I was thinking this guy is supposed to be 18 years old. He's stupid, he's dumb. And the movie really makes it clear that he's stupid and dumb. And you kind of just have to go with it. But I do think that in the end, they gave him a very interesting and good evolution, without spoiling anything, of course. The cameos, oh my god, there are some very fun cameos, to be sure. It's not like it's this big multiverse extravaganza, but there are for a long time, and I do mean long time, DC fans, there are some very nice Easter eggs here and there, especially when you're also familiar with all of the urban legends in the DC film industry. If you see the movie, you know what I mean. There's one cameo that I really didn't see coming, but I was so happy to see it. You'll know what I mean. You know what I mean. Apart from that, to be completely honest, I think to give one more, it's not really a negative, but the CGI. The CGI in this film is weird. It's really weird. It didn't bother me that much because I was like, you know what, this basically is just a comic book I'm watching. So the moment the effects started to look like, well, a comic book, it didn't really bother me that much. However, there are plenty of moments when a person, a human character, is clearly fully rendered in CG. And that really is extremely noticeable. And I know some people will really hate it, others not as much. Personally, it didn't break the movie for me. However, I did have this feeling like, they really could have spent some more time on some of the CG rendering on the humans. All of the effects and everything, it didn't bother me that much. Michael Keaton as Batman, very good, extremely good. He wasn't a laughingstock, he wasn't just a tool, he wasn't just a stupid cameo. He was a character, he's the same guy from the Tim Burton movies, and he delivers. He is treated very, very well in this movie. He's treated very well. Supergirl, I was a little bit afraid of this, but to be honest, Supergirl really liked the character. Really liked her in this role. I actually hope we're gonna see more of her in the future. Didn't expect me to say that. Michael Shannon returns as Zod, and he kind of like goes through the motions. He's good in the role, but it's not like he has that much to do. He doesn't have that much to do. It's kind of like he's kind of there, and he just does what he has to do. There are plenty of other references that are very nice, but in the end, it all comes down to the ending. Now, this is the final real big DCEU movie. I know we have Aquaman still coming, but let's face it, Aquaman, I don't really know. That movie has gotten so much bad press already because of the screenings. This is really the final big DCEU movie, and however, there are still plenty of fun times. I mean, Ben Affleck in this movie is very nice. Jeremy Irons as Alfred is also back. I mean, their appearances aren't really that long, but they are nice. It's like a little callback to 5 years ago, which is cool. But this movie really, it was meant to bring the DCEU to a close. I don't know, it may be just me, but I've read numerous articles that The Flash was going to try to bring the DCEU to a close. And without spoiling anything, of course, the ending, yes, the ending is indeed, it's gonna be impossible for them to continue as usual. However, there really isn't that much closure to be had. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you would see this movie and you see the ending and the movie ends and it has a post-credit scene, but to be honest, the post-credit scene is completely useless. Sorry, you really don't miss much. If you stick for the post-credit scene, I guess it's a little bit fun, but you really don't miss a lot. You'd think this is like, a Captain America Civil War. This is like a Captain America Winter Soldier or a Thor Ragnarok or whatever. It's one of the better movies, but it's not a movie that you think like, wow, okay, now something really has ended. There's still plenty of room, plenty of stuff that has been left open, plenty of stuff that really isn't finished at all. So it's not really the closure that I was kind of like hoping for. I was kind of like hoping that we're going to play with the multiverse, with the timelines and everything, that it would make more sense to make the transition from the DCEU to the upcoming DCU. However, I really didn't get that feeling that much. In terms of events, there are some things that kind of shocked me in this movie. You'll see what I mean. They do some stuff with certain characters that I really did not see coming, and I didn't really have a problem with that because I thought they handled it pretty well. It's not like they handled it pretty well, and I respected that. Ezra Miller, I actually think does a great job. I know he's very controversial this time around, but sorry, I do honestly believe that he does a very, very good job in this film. And I'm sad that it's flopping. This movie isn't doing that well, but I honestly implore you guys, and even if you're not the biggest fan of the DCEU, if you're just a fan of DC, of movies, of pop culture in general, go and watch this movie. Go and watch this movie. It's really worth it. Is it this big, groundbreaking spectacle? Of course not. I mean, it's again with a multiverse concept. It's again superheroes. It's again with the same message of, you know what, let the past stay behind you. You have to move forward. You have to let it go. It's nothing new. It really isn't anything new, but it's done with such a fun vibe, and also with the just the right amount of passion that you can see coming from this project, in my opinion, that it really makes it for a fun time. I implore you guys all to go and watch it. You really won't be disappointed. Yes, the CG isn't all that great. Yes, the ending will confuse a lot of people and really isn't closure at all. But the performances, the events that happen, the way they deal with certain stuff, the cameos, the references, the Easter eggs, they're all very fun to watch. This was Insta for you guys. Thank you.